River here, and I got my reviews coming up now, or I should say my showcases, really, rather, for the XBZ Raiders that Clownie has sent me. Now, what is an XBZ Raider? Well, it's basically taking a Buzzbee Extreme Blastzooka, or XBZ, just shortened, and shoving it into a Raider shell, or a Rampage shell, whichever your preference or whatever you happen to have. Raiders were the old original N-Strike blasters. You can find them in places like Goodwill or any kind of consignment shop or whatever, or on eBay or something like that. The Rampage is still readily available. I've only seen them being sold at Toys R Us now, and also in the Sonic Ice version, which means it's like a $45 blaster when this thing originally sold for I think like $25. So you gotta take what you can get or use what you can get. So I know Clownie had a bunch of Raider shells. He sent me one because I have an XBZ that I've wanted to do something with. And he's like, why don't you build your own? So I'm like, okay. So that may be a future project video. But anyway, that's getting a little off subject. I'm going to go over these blasters, showcase them firing. I'm going to showcase the internals on this particular one, which is the stock version of it. Clownie, I know you wanted me to do both of them, but honestly, I really don't feel comfortable taking this one apart, since I have to take apart the pump and everything, and it's also got the expanded tank, and I'm sorry, dude, I'm just worried I'm going to fuck something up. But I'm going to go over this one first. I'm going to go over both of them. I'm going to showcase the internals on this one, and I'll give you my overall impression on this one. Now, this one is probably one of the cleanest integrations I've ever seen on a Nerf blaster. What he did is the clip well where you would attach that side piece that would hold the magazines for if this was a standard or a stock blaster. He covered it up with some kind of plastic. I'm not exactly sure what it was. I know it's not polycarb, but I mean it's pretty heavy duty stuff. He carved in an iron cross on it just because he's always liked that design, and mounted it with a couple of screws so it keeps that nice and closed, which is really cool. He took out the jam door for the breaching system, which you just slide it forward, which will move the barrel out a little bit, but that doesn't really matter. Push it back, closes it, and you have no barrel sticking out, so that's always a good thing. The front grip looks like, I think this is off of a Buzzbee double shot. The original one, the side-by-side, not the up-and-down ones. Which is actually really cool because this is a very comfortable front grip. So when you have this shouldered or you're aiming it or whatever, you got a nice grip rather than having to worry about the front handle moving or whatever, or having to make that solid. From what Clownie has told me, even though this is glued into place on here, he did do it to where it can still be opened, obviously for maintenance or anything like that. So while most of the screws are going to be on this side, there are the 3 screws on this side, but I can still open this blaster no problem. The pump, and this is what I want to do in mine when I actually build mine, the pump is actually really, really cool because the pump is actually in the stock attachment. So in order to actually utilize it, all you got to do is pretty much just pump the stock, pull it out, and then fire. And it works flawlessly. I got to say, this is really, really good. So kudos on that one. The next one we're doing is this one, which is a expanded tank version. I don't remember exactly how he did the expanded tank. We talked about it, and it unfortunately just slips my mind. But he did the same thing on this one, which he did on the first one, where he took a plate of plastic, covered up the original clip magwell area, and on this one he put a Punisher skull, which is pretty cool. The pump he did obviously very different. He took what looks like a piece of PVC, shoved it onto the tank to give it a bit of a grip, and then just filled the crap out of it with epoxy putty, and slapped on a Raider stock, which, I mean, the Raider stock, you don't get too much of at least somewhat of my size, you don't get too much of a stock feel to it, but Clownie's also about a foot and a half shorter than me, so it works out fine. Plus, it also works out good too, because you're not going to accidentally hit up on or hit the underside of the pump and break it off or something. Again, same thing. It's breech loading, so you put the darts in here, close the breech, load it, pump it, fire it. I'm going to do a quick firing demonstration for you guys, and let's see, I got some, me and Clownie both share an affinity for shitty gray foam baccarat, so those are the darts I'm going to be using. Now, he told me his darts do tend to be a little shorter than normal, but you know what, I got them to fit fine, so we're going to do that. I'm going to do 10 pumps on each. I think I can get 10 out of this one. I think, even though I'm going to try 10 on that one, I think the OPRV is still intact on that one, and that will kick in probably well before I get there. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I felt resistance on 9. I'm not pumping it any further. Fire. Wow, that had power. So you can definitely feel... You can definitely see the power in that tank. Alright, so next is going to be the stock version, and let's see here. Close the breech. 1, 2, 3. I got 10 in there, but I think the OPRV definitely kicked in. Okay. That also had really, really good power behind it, but honestly, I could definitely tell this one, both with 9 pumps, this one had a lot more kick in it. So you can definitely see you can definitely at least, you can't see it because I'm shooting off camera, but you could feel the difference between the velocity coming out of the blasters. Okay, so enough of that. Next, I'm going to showcase the insides of this particular one, and I will let you know how I think Clownie did after that. Okay, for the sake of time, to open this thing up, I've already removed the stock, which is Clownie just made super easy to where the pump is screwed directly into it. All you got to do is remove the stock like you would do normally, and that takes it right off. I've also removed the end cap, which you can see here, just has pretty much the plunger tube. I've unscrewed everything, and here are going to be the internals for the Extreme Blastzooka Raiders. Yep, that's basically it. It looks like a bunch of epoxy putty holding everything in place. The original Raider trigger, which has been used to hit the air release pin, which just goes right up. I don't know, maybe it just works better the other way. The PVC coupler he has, which goes into the breech, which goes into the original orange barrel, which is actually what's covering the PETG, which was actually a very cool idea, Clownie, very nice. And you can see here how he mounted the other pieces. Pretty much just, it looks like some hot glue is in there, or some super glue in there, and he screwed it in place, and he did a bang-up job on that one. So, yeah, here it is. It's the XBZ Raider, and there's the internals. Very, very simple. Pretty much, honestly, I think this is going to be a mod a lot of people are going to think might be intimidating, but it's probably going to be one of the most easiest things ever to do. So I'm going to close this thing up. I'm going to give my final thoughts on how Clownie did on all of these next. Okay, so my final thoughts on Clownie's blasters. Clownie, you did an amazing job on these things. The stock tank one is beautiful. It looks almost like a stock Raider in and of itself, with the exception of the giant green grip. But you know what? I like that green grip over the front grip of the Raider anyway. This one, it's a beast. You know, I didn't get a chance to open it up, but the way this thing shoots, man, I really hope you don't shoot me with this at the war on Saturday. Oh yeah, by the way, Koree's having a war on Saturday. Link in the description below if you want to catch the info on it on Nerf Haven. I know he's also been, I think he's promoted it once or twice on Nerf Modders Welcome on the Facebook channel. But I hope you guys do get around to, hope you guys are able to make it out there if you're in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania area. And also, it would probably be a great warm-up to APOC. But overall, yes, very awesome blasters, Clownie. Kudos to you for doing an amazing job. And also, I promised my brother-in-law, you get a shout-out too, Dan, for making some awesome chicken on Sunday. It was great. Some of the best chicken I've ever had. So, thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. Later.